Hello my friends, Alyssa True here, registered dietitian and founder of Nourishment Nutrition. It's crazy to say that it's been 6 years, but it has been 6 years since I started Nourishment Nutrition as a full-time private practice dietitian. And as you can imagine, since then it has morphed quite beautifully into just what I always hoped that it would, which is essentially a holistic system that I refer to as the Avenues of Nourishment approach. Because, as we know, we do not eat in a vacuum. Everything in our life impacts how we eat, what we eat, when we eat, our food preferences, our habits, our cravings. It's a big, entangled experience to eat. It's an entangled experience to be a human, but it is, a little complicated, but it doesn't have to be. However, by the time most people come to me and they get on their Explore call, they say, Alyssa, I've looked up everything and I just have no idea. I've tried all these diets, I've done all these things, and I feel quite paralyzed. I understand. Even as a dietitian with an immense amount of time under my belt studying, because I'll let you in on a little secret, I knew I wanted to be doing this by the age of 14 really. Even as a dietitian, there's still so many avenues to explore. So I start with this as to say thank you for your trust in landing here in this sphere that I refer to as the Avenues of Nourishment. Second to that, I wonder if you've ever asked a doctor, a dietitian, a nutritionist, a functional medicine practitioner, an acupuncturist, any kind of health practitioner, a question like, well, what should I eat? How much should I eat? When should I eat? Is it good for me to eat meat? Is it bad for me to eat gluten? Should I avoid dairy? Should I avoid coffee? What about alcohol? Have you asked any of these questions? Most likely you have. What's fun for me about nourishment, about how we eat and how we interface with our food, is that it varies drastically person to person based on a whole number of different variables. And so to give broad spectrum stroke answers like, you shouldn't eat meat, you should eat this many vegetables, you should drink this much coffee, you should drink this much water, just doesn't make sense. And I'm all about making sense. But not the kind of sense that's blindly logical. The kind of sense that is driven by the wisdom of my body, by the wisdom of your body, by the wisdom of the accumulated experiences that you've had in your body. And that is where the avenues of nourishment bloom. Yes, I am equipped with a deep understanding and ability to guide based on that understanding. Yes. That is why the dietetic track includes things like nutritional biochemistry, organic chemistry, physiology, microbiology, because it wants us, in teaching us these sciences, to be able to critical think. Whether you come to me saying, Alyssa, I need help preventing cardiovascular disease, or Alyssa, I have struggled with an eating disorder and I need some guidance around how to interface with my body and my food. Critical thinking is essential, and it is the base of the avenues of nourishment. Now, that being said, along with that logical, critical thinking vein that flows through the practice, there's also the meeting of the art form of nourishment to mesh beautifully with the sciences. You can't have one without the other. You really can't. And because each of us are different, each of us have a different, ethnic lineage, each of us have a different environment that impacts our epigenetics, each of us have different preferences for flavor and texture. Each of us has a different lifestyle, different activity levels, different mental and cognitive demands, different sleep cycles, different elevations that we live at. Nourishment has to be tailored to you for it to be sustainable. And yeah, it's a damn good marketing pitch. Oh, it's got to be individualized. However, it has to be for it to be sustainable. I've seen this firsthand. And that's my job. When you work with me, when we work together, my job is not to create a codependent relationship where you come to me as the dietitian, as the guru, asking, Alyssa, what should I eat? My job is to say, hey, here's what I know, logically, knowledge based. Let's mesh that with your experience and let's find the sweet spot where you are in your own experiment. You, in fact, are your own experiment, and how you eat is an experiment. How you interface with your food, the thoughts you think when you sit down, your mindscape as related to your body, your food, your movement, pleasure, struggle, everything is an experiment. And my job is to hold bird's eye view and be the organizer, the orchestrator of the details as you come to me saying, hey, I'm in my experiment and this is what's happening. It's my job to help guide you through those avenues. As one of my clients so aptly said, and I was so deeply honored to hear this, they said, if nourishment is a mountain, Alyssa is the Sherpa that guides you up the mountain safely. And I honestly can't think of a better metaphor than that, because everyone's mountain's going to look a little bit different. And to have a guide that says, okay, well, here's all the knowledge, and here I am watching your experience, and this is what I have to offer. What do you think? What's happening in your body? That's a whole nother experience. That's not dieting. That's not restriction. That's not dogma-based nutrition. No. What that is nourishment. Because our nourishment is going to shift season to season. Our nourishment is going to shift based on our life cycle. Are you in your 20s going to college? Are you in your 30s trying to have a child or pursuing your career? Are you up all night with that child? Are you busy pursuing your career and working out and doing all these things? Are you living on a boat? Are you living in the mountains? Are you living in a city? Right? So my job is to meet you where you're at in your experiment and to give you the knowledge and the critical thinking so that you never have to work with another dietitian. And over time together we hone this knowledge specific to you and we practice checking in. So that you're checking in with yourself, so that you're aware of how your body's communicating with you and the sensations and the language your body has to say, not that. We like this. And not to compare that with any kind of diet dogma or way, some specific way that works, but instead to say, this is my way. This is one of, or this is all of the avenues of my nourishment. And it's through this lens that we can have an expansive, ever-changing practice that is nourishment. So, all of that being said, I thank you for landing on this page. I thank you for taking nearly 10 minutes of your life to watch this video, and I highly encourage you to reach out with any questions that you might have, be it by booking an Explore call or by sending me an email, finding me on Instagram, or sending me a text message. Thank you so much, and I will absolutely look forward to exploring the avenues of nourishment with you.